Radio, The Ticket.
208-424-9300. Your thoughts, how important is it for you that Dirk Koetter stays on this thing? And maybe it's too early. It's November 6th, but this thing's creeping up, and it's kind of that, I don't know what it is, that monster that's waiting over there in the corner, and at some point you just have to face it, and that might be Prater this year if Dirk Koetter was serious and everything. This is a one-year deal. He's here to help Spencer kind of get this program off the ground, coordinate this offense 1 year, and then Spencer's on his own. You asked him the question, first media member to do so this year, considering where we are in the season, Prater, and kind of an interesting exchange. We also talked to Coach Danielson about it too. Dirk coming back. This is going to be something I think in a month or two we'll be talking a lot more of.
Boise State has promised 5 games this year. They're going to get 4 regular season games, and there's one promise of a championship game. We think that's going to be bigger, better, stronger, faster, but we'll see how it plays out. That's fast. That's furious. And if Dirk Koetter's down to his last 5 games, that sucks. That's sad. And I think it is. This whole thing started with you and I talking on Bronco game night after the game the other night after San Diego State, and that performance from the offense, the defense, and it was certainly the topic conversation of Dirk Koetter came up. And thinking about it over the weekend and then meeting with the coaches on Monday, it's a simple, safe question. I know these guys live in a week-to-week environment. You just heard Marco and Notriani talking about the CFP. Massive national respect tonight. Ho-hum, it's Nevada, and I get it. I totally get it. Neither one of these guys, neither one of these coaches liked this question. One of them answered it, and one of them did not, ballgame.
Where do you want to start with this? The question of Dirk Koetter. I mean, is there any chance? What are we doing? Do you want him back at least? Can he come back? What's the deal on this? Where do you want to go first?
Do we want to hear from Spencer or Dirk himself? Should we warm up with Spencer, or is JP going Dirk?
JP wants Coach Danielson. Here's Coach Danielson when asked the question about, would Dirk Koetter possibly coming back next year to do this again?
I absolutely want Dirk to come back next year. No, we don't talk about that stuff, Mike. We talk about Dirk is not only, as we all see, a phenomenal offensive coach, quarterback coach, game planner. He's a huge mentor to me. And I go in there a lot, from practice schedules to culture to messaging. Obviously, we've talked about Coach Pete. I Zoom with him once a week to make sure I'm not missing anything. But Dirk's a huge resource for me. He's a huge resource for our whole staff. And I think he's having an absolute blast because he loves these kids. And I think sometimes people don't understand that. The relationships he builds with these players, not just on the offense, the defense, the guys that he's texting, calling, checking on them. That's who he is. He's an elite coach. He's even better, mentor for these young men and a mentor for me as a young head coach, that I pick his brain constantly in regards to all facets of this game. And he's an absolute joy to be around on a day-to-day. And he's, one of the most meticulous, process-oriented coaches I've ever been around. He's brought me to a higher level, and I'm thankful for that.
Spencer mentioned the word fun, and I kind of framed the question that way. How much fun is Dirk Koetter having? And you guys saw the stat, I think it was from Jay Tust on Twitter, some stats about Boise State's offense with and without Dirk Koetter. They're phenomenal. And he's doing a phenomenal job with this football team. I'm not sure I've ever seen a more efficient offense than what we're watching right now. It's almost automatic and smooth and scary to watch. And Dirk Koetter certainly has a big impact on that. And I think he's having fun. I'm glad Spencer Danielson said he's having fun. He shows up at his Monday press conferences a little grumpy. He's been better the last couple of weeks, so maybe things are starting to kick into gear, and certainly wanted to talk to him about how much fun he was having. And ballgame, before we heard Dirk Koetter, I want to hear from you. Do you think he's coming back?
No, I don't. I think it's going to be a big buzzkill. He turns 66 on February 5th.
What, is that old? Is that old?
He's been telling us how old he is for the last 3 years. I'll never forget the quote, "Coaching college football is a young man's game, and I'm not young." He said that on his last way out. He ends up coming back. I don't know the reason other than he just loves this place. He saw what was in the cupboard. He's a chef. He wants to cook. And he sees a restaurant that has all these ingredients, and he's thinking in his head, what could I make with those ingredients? Well, I'll tell you, 7 weeks in, right? 8 weeks in, there's 2 teams in America that are averaging over 500 yards of offense and 45-plus points. It's Miami and Boise State. That's the list. The only 2 teams in both those clubs. At one point in the offseason, I thought Dirk Koetter was coming
coming back for Ashton Genty and Malachi Nelson. I firmly believe that. And the Ashton Genty thing is real. I don't believe that with Malachi anymore, just based on what we've learned. I mean, Dirk Koetter had never even seen Malachi Nelson throw until the first day of spring camp. So I'm not sure how much that played a role. I can almost promise you, and I hate to put words into his mouth, but he loves working with Maddox Madsen. I think he's inspired by Maddox Madsen. He loves looking at a 20-year-old kid who is a winner chicken dinner. And I think that really works for Dirk Koetter. And Maddox Madsen's a young dude. I mean, Genty's gone, but Maddox Madsen could stick around here for a couple of years. There's three things in the favor of Boise State fans who want Dirk Koetter to come back, and I would imagine that's about 100%. He loves Boise State. It's really become this massive, important part of his life.
Okay.
It was then, and then he went off to do his thing, and he came back, and he lives here and will live here forever. And I think he really, really loves Boise State. He really, really, really likes working with Spencer Danielson.
He does.
He feeds off that unbelievably, and then he's inspired just by being able to have the teacher-student relationship with a winner like Maddox Madsen, and I think that inspires him every single day. So I've said 3 straight years, there's no way in hell he's coming back. I'm tired of being wrong, and Dirk Koetter will tell you I'm wrong all the time. But
you're leaning towards he does it again because he loves everything you said.
Yes. I'm leaning toward him coming back, but I'm probably wrong again.
Look, and if I'm Spencer Danielson, no recruiting visits, or just tell us what visits you want to go on or not. You coordinate, like my offense, coordinate your recruiting schedule, Coach Koetter. If I'm Spencer Danielson, whatever you want in the recruiting game, we will work out. Heck, do you need more money? And I don't think that's it. Dirk Koetter's made a ton of money. Look at the money he's made at the last 7 jobs or whatever he's had. Millions of dollars, dude.
$400,000 for this gig.
He's loaded. So, yeah, it's not like, hey, you're not paying me enough. But if they does need maybe more money, you don't think Jeremiah Dickey, hey, what we don't have, what are we going to do, Prater?
We're going to go get
We're going to go get. If it's $150,000, $200,000 away from keeping Koetter here, Jeremiah Dickey will have that by lunch, and they will keep him. But
it's not a money thing for him. I
don't think it is. You're right.
I know it is. It's absolutely not a money thing for it. Absolutely not a money thing. I mean, that conversation is going to start in December with Mrs. Koetter. And if he's been coaching these last 3 years, I would assume that she's okay with that. I don't know. I don't know what she's thinking, nor would I even guess that. But it's a family dynamic, and I think there's a small chance that he comes back.
208-424-9300. The Cloverdale Plumbing text line will take all those texts, plus the state trooper who's listening to the show. He texted he can't call in. He said he's tied up. I don't know if he means he's tying somebody up or he is busy, all kidding aside. Cop jokes, but he did comment on that, on the legalities of hitchhiking in the state of Idaho. I said earlier, 6 states don't allow hitchhiking in any form. Idaho was not on that list, but the state trooper of Idaho is saying, no, Johnny, you're wrong, and tell Ray to call back and claim his prize. Ray, if you're still listening, apparently we screwed you over according to Matt, our state trooper buddy. Prater on the ball game. Let's hop on.
Come on, ball game.
Oh, I forgot.
Jeez, ball game. I was wondering where the hell you were going. We're in the middle of a segment. You lost track in the middle of a segment, didn't you?
Yeah. Here's Dirk Koetter on Monday. JP, yeah, I forgot we had another piece of audio. It happens sometimes, guys. Come on. Dirk Koetter on Monday answering Prater's question about, you're loving it. You're thinking about coming back.
How much fun are you having with this offense? And at what point do you, because I'm assuming you're having a lot of fun with this offense.
Except for 12:45 on Mondays. I'm having a lot of fun.
This is the easiest thing you've ever done. At what point do you start thinking about next year in the future?
I do not think about next year. No. And neither should our guys. We should be thinking about what we got to do this week. And this is, it's all fleeting. It can all go away in a second. And obviously we have a great thing going right now. Our players are on board. Coach D does an awesome job of getting everybody in the building on the same page, which is a big piece of this puzzle. We're relatively healthy, knock on wood, right now. We're playing solid football in all phases, and that's all we should be focused on right now.
He's got that in his back pocket,
Yeah,
doesn't
he
he?
does. Yeah, he does.
Because they are winning and they're doing so well. You don't want to mess with the mojo. So, Dirk, and anytime it gets brought up, hey, whoa. Hey, you're jinxing it. We're not talking about next year yet. We got to stay in this moment. It's a hell of a card to play, and Coach Koetter knows exactly how to play it. But he is right on that. But still, everybody obviously wants to know how special maybe this thing can get year in, year out with this Danielson Koetter dynamic, Prater.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens down the road. So it's been fun. It's been a great part of this football journey, and let's see what happens. Let's see what happens next year. So he had shoulder surgery this past summer, so he couldn't golf. I bet he's looking forward to a real golf season this summer.
Yeah,
Danielson's told him he can recruit, but he only has to recruit from his office. They bring him recruits, and he sits and does some film work in the office with a couple of recruits a year.
He recruits them, essentially.
Well, or just, they talk film
Yeah.
and they get inside the brains and that kind of stuff. And I think he enjoys those kinds of conversations. So even the recruiting aspect, I think that they figured out a way to put a smile on his face. I'm saying Dirk Koetter's coming back, but I'm guessing I'll be wrong.
Hey, guess, yes or no, is Dirk Koetter going to be coordinating this offense at Boise State in 2025? Another quick reminder, Friday, the 2 sweet deals we have available will be Costa Vida and Blaze Pizza. So make sure to check those out Friday, 9 a.m. at KTIK.com.
This is Idaho Sports Talk with Prater and the Ballgame, brought to you by